Ask and you shall receive, Pats Nation, because today we are making the long-awaited video that you guys on the daily have been asking for in the comment section. I'm giving you my final roster prediction for the New England Patriots.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Colby, also known as Patriots Global, back here with another video. And today we are going to be doing my final roster prediction for the New England Patriots for the upcoming 2024 season. Now, the Patriots did just conclude their final week 3 preseason game against the Washington Commanders. And I wanted to wait till after that game to do this so that it was as realistic as possible, because there were guys on the roster bubble that if they played great in that game, were on my roster. And guys, if they didn't play well, we're going to be off of my roster. So as for the quarterback position, I feel like this is going to be pretty straightforward. I only have them keeping 3 quarterbacks. I think it would be a mistake to keep 4 quarterbacks on the active roster. And really, I hope that by 2025, the Patriots are back in a position where they only have to keep 2 quarterbacks on the active roster. I think keeping upwards to 4 total QBs is just going to hurt the overall roster when there's a lot of really good wide receivers pushing to make this team, a lot of really good cornerbacks pushing to make this team. Adding a 4th guy behind center who's never going to see the field just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. That means I have Jacoby Brissett, Drake May, and Joe Milton ultimately making this final roster. Bailey Zappi hasn't warranted a roster spot for the Patriots. Appreciate what he's done over the last 2 years, but at the end of the day, I think the Patriots could most likely have him clear waivers and get him back if he still wants to be here. Now, obviously, if he gets an offer from another team, he might just take it. But he's playing late into the 4th quarter during these preseason games, not really getting a whole lot of action. And when he is, he's not really doing anything with those opportunities. It was pretty easy and pretty clear cut. 3 quarterbacks on the active roster and Bailey Zappi out. Moving on to the running back position, I could see a world in which the Patriots could keep 4 total guys on this active roster. This is going to be a run-centric, run-first offense, but I think that they can get one of these guys back on their practice squad. So guys that I have making it: Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, and JaMycal Hasty. Now, I really like Kevin Harris, and I really think that it's been an even nod between JaMycal Hasty and Kevin Harris. Both of those guys looking really equal, really 50-50. No guy truly ran away with that 3rd overall running back on this roster. I just think that JaMycal Hasty is going to give the Patriots a little bit more of a spark, a little bit more versatility, and what this offense needs over Kevin Harris. Kevin Harris has been here for a couple of years now, never really done much with his opportunities. He's going to be a power back, puts his shoulder down, get some of those tough yardage, but he's really not going to do anything as a pass catcher. He's not going to do much for you on special teams, and he's not going to be much of an explosive piece to your offense. As where JaMycal Hasty, he has some elusiveness to him. He has some quickness to him. He's also a really good receiving back out of the backfield and has special teams ability. Either way, I think if they release JaMycal Hasty or Kevin Harris, that is a player they could get back on their practice squad. And in this case, that's exactly what I have happening. So then being cut, again, I have Kevin Harris, Terrell Jennings, and Deshaun Fenwick. I don't think that Fenwick should even be back on the practice squad at this point, but I think Terrell Jennings should. Jennings was a UDFA that I really liked throughout the preseason, was only playing in like the 3rd and 4th quarter, but when he was showing really good upside as a running back. He was showing really good upside as a receiving back too. And I think that if the Patriots had to give him a nod at some point during the regular season due to injuries, he could be somebody that could suffice in this offense. Now, before we continue on here, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this video and the channel all football season long, and that's our buddies over at BetUS. BetUS is the best damn sportsbook on the platform. I use it. Everybody at Roundtable Sports uses it. Every single one of your favorite NFL content creators also uses BetUS, and we do that for a reason. Right now, link in the description box below and pinned in the comment section below for a limited time exclusive offer you're not going to find anywhere else of a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, all the way up to $2,000. For those of you who don't really know how that works, let's say you put down $100. I'm going to be nice for you guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Not going to make you do math. Let's say you put down $100. Because of that 125% sign-up bonus, that then turns into $225. It more than doubles your initial deposit. More money you put in, obviously, the more money you guys are going to get out. Most importantly, though, make sure you are legal to play in your state. BetUS is available in every state, so just make sure you are of proper age. And of course, if you or somebody you know or love has a gambling issue, please make sure you reach out, get the help that you or they need. And if you need any help with that, always reach out to me. I'd be more than willing to help you guys. But a little bit more here too about BetUS. They have the fastest payouts in the industry, a 200% crypto deposit bonus, fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process, 24/7 personalized service, 365 days a year, live wagering on all major games, best betting variety in the business. You guys can even get a 10% back on your net losses 2 times a year. I mean, BetUS, guys, truly taking care of you. And you guys also know BetUS can give you your very own personalized account manager. Remember that supporting the sponsors that support the channel directly support me here at Patriots Global. We could not be doing this full time. We could not be giving you the best Patriots content and analysis out there if it was not for BetUS. So if you guys want to support me or you just want to have some fun this upcoming season, make sure to sign up below for BetUS. But real quick, I actually wanted to look at the odds, the updated odds for the odds to win the AFC East. And as you can see, the New England Patriots are still last projected in the division, and the odds just keep getting worse. Right now, we are projected to lose in 4th place at plus 2,500 odds. First place is still the Buffalo Bills at plus 170. The New York Jets are not far behind at all in 2nd place at 180. And then the Miami Dolphins in 3rd place also aren't too much behind at plus 200. To me, the Buffalo Bills, they are still a lock to win this division. A lot of hype around the Dolphins. I think they took a step back. A lot of hype around the Jets. They haven't proven anything. Go with the team that has proven for the last 5 years that they will and can win the division, and that's the Buffalo Bills. But make sure you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
And as I'm making this video, the Patriots are actually making a couple of releases early on here, none of which I had on my active roster anyway. These were some of the first guys that were actually off of my roster. But we have lawn snapper Tucker Addison. He's getting cut. Wide receiver Kawaan Baker getting cut. Defensive end William Bradley King. Defensive tackle Josiah Brunson. Linebacker Steele Chambers. Running back Deshaun Fenwick. Cornerback Azizi Hearn, who played horrific last night. Like, he would have been my first cut today. Defensive end, Christian McCarroll, who they signed like 4 days ago. Tight end, LaMichael Petway. Defensive tackle, Sam Roberts. That's probably the biggest surprise here is that, I mean, their first 14 cuts, they immediately released Sam Roberts, who's been on the active 53-man roster the last couple of years. Center, Charles Turner. Cornerback, Mikey Victor. And tight end, Jacob Bourne. Again, pretty much all of those guys being some of the first players that were off of my roster projection anyway. But let's move on to the position that you guys have been asking me about in the comment section, the one that you guys are probably going to get on me for, and that is the wide receiver position. So I technically have the Patriots keeping 7 wide receivers, but right now for the week 1 active roster, it's only going to be 6 because of Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne is going to start the season on the PUP list, so he's not really going to go towards the Patriots 53-man roster. But when he comes back, obviously he will, and he will be that 7th wide receiver. So at least for right now, I only have a total of 6. It's Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, KJ Osborne, Jalen Reagor, and Tyquan Thornton. PUP list, like I said, Kendrick Bourne. And then that means getting cut Matt Landers, who I think they'll definitely want back on the practice squad. David Wallace, the return man. I really like him, but I mean, you have like 3 returners ahead of him on this depth chart. He just was not going to be able to make this roster. I really hope that David Wallace can be back here in New England on their practice squad. I think he has a bright future, but with how good of a return man he was one of the best returners in the preseason. There might be a team that says, we're okay with warranting signing you by being just a return man, just a special teamer, as where the Patriots don't really have a roster spot to be able to do that. I have Kawaan Baker getting cut, which obviously he already was. And I also have Kayshon Boutte being cut. I'm going to get a lot of flack for that one. But guys, there's a lot of really good NFL caliber wide receivers on this depth chart. Not everybody was going to be able to make it. And the thing with Kayshon Boutte is he shows potential, but then he ghosts himself. You know, the second day of minicamp puts up 4 touchdowns. The first day of minicamp does nothing. Starts off training camp on a high note, ends it being quiet. I mean, last night, third preseason game against the Washington Commanders, and I think he was targeted like one time. He was virtually invisible, and this is when it matters most. I said, if Kayshon Boutte is going to make this roster, I said this like a month or two ago, that he was going to most importantly have to stay consistent. He shows the potential, but the team is going to roll with a wide receiver that has more consistency over the guy that flashes the most. I really hope that he clears waivers, nobody claims him, and they can get him back on the practice squad, but it wouldn't surprise me if another team was to claim him because there is a lot of potential with Kayshon Boutte. I know a lot of people aren't going to like this, but keeping Tyquan Thornton is a must at this point. He's been rolling with the first team offense. He's the projected week 1 starting X wide receiver, their number 1 wide receiver on this depth chart. They've been really cautious with him. He's been able to stay healthy for the start of the season for the first time in his NFL career. They think that he's going to be a big part to this offense. I guarantee you he's not going anywhere unless we get a surprise trade. As for these tight ends, I have them keeping a total of 3 on the active roster: Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, and Jaheim Bell. Originally, I had Mitchell Wilcox being over Jaheim Bell, but with him being injured, him kind of being silent over the last couple of weeks now, not really providing anything as a pass catcher and not really being all that great of a blocker either. I think they're going to go with the young upside and the developmental side of Jaheim Bell, who is going to be able to be used as a Swiss Army knife offensively. Line him up in slot, line him up out wide, line him up in inline tight end at H-back. That's how you're going to find the mismatches here for Jaheim Bell. And again, with the injuries that have occurred with both Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry, I feel like keeping a third tight end on the active roster is an absolute must. So, of course, that means being cut. I have Mitchell Wilcox, LaMichael Petway, and Jacob Warren. Now, as for the offensive linemen, I have them keeping a total of 10 guys on this active roster between center, guard, and tackle: David Andrews, Mike Lonwenu, Sidi So, Chukwuekorfor, Vidarian Lowe, Layden Robinson, Caden Wallace, Nick Leverett, Michael Jordan, and Calvin Anderson, meaning that having cut, I have Antonio Mafi, Kellen Dyche, Charles Turner, Zuri Henry, and Liam Fornadell. 10 guys might seem like a lot, but at the same time, this offensive line for the Patriots already getting banged up. They had significant amount of injuries during the 2023 season that plagued that offensive line also. I think keeping an extra offensive lineman or 2, especially with how this O-line is already turning out during the preseason, is not a bad idea. I've seen on a lot of roster predictions of having Calvin Anderson off. He's been dealing with some injuries. He hasn't been the most consistent player throughout training camp, but he is going to give you veteran depth at tackle, which is what this team is going to need. Another option at tackle while they're trying to figure this out, like I said, is only going to help this team. It's not going to hurt the team. As for the guys being cut, I feel like they're all pretty self-explanatory. The only one who you guys might be like, oh, what, he's getting cut, is Antonio Mafi, former 6th-round pick by the Patriots during that 2023 draft. Unfortunately, with him, I thought he showed some potential, just inconsistencies during his rookie season last year, but they tried moving him to center this offseason, has looked absolutely terrible. He's done nothing to warrant a active 53-man roster spot. I think he'll be someone that they want to put back on the practice squad. The other takeaway that I think some people might question here is Michael Jordan on the active roster. Now, with Sidi So kind of being up in the air, getting injured last night against the Commanders, we don't know what's going to happen to him week 1. We don't know what's going to happen to him long term. They're going to want depth there at guard, especially with Gerard Mayo saying that that is a strength of their team, is the core, the interior of that offensive line. Layden Robinson, the rookie right guard, also struggling big time against the Commanders last night. The thing is that with Robinson, he has been a much better run blocker than pass blocker, as where with Michael Jordan, he's been a much better pass blocker than he has been a run blocker. So the Patriots kind of get 2 pieces of the pie there. One guard who's going to help you in the run game, but one guard who's also going to help you in pass protection. They can kind of pick which one they want. Now, moving on to the defense here. With the defensive line, I have them keeping a total of 5 guys. Now, spoiler alert, I do have Dietrich Wise considered as a defensive lineman and not an edge rusher, just because he plays on the edge a little bit, but he also plays a lot in the interior. And with Christian Barmore and Matthew Judon not going to be here, at least Christian Barmore not going to be here for week 1, I think we're going to see a lot more Dietrich Wise in the interior of that defensive line to get some more pass rush. So that's why I have him here. But I have Devon Godchow, Dietrich Wise, Daniel Akwale, Jeremiah Farms, and Armon Watts. And you guys are probably gasping right now. A little bit of a dark horse name. He hasn't looked good during this offseason with the Patriots. I mean, literally in any way, shape, or form, preseason training camp. But at the end of the day, there are some players who look really, really good during training camp and then don't look good during the regular season, but vice versa. There's some players who look terrible in training camp, but then just turn it on when the regular season comes. And I think that's what you're hoping with Armon Watts here. Really good tape with the Steelers this past season, really good as a pass rusher, good at defending the run too. And they need a guy who's going to be well-rounded like that with the absence of Christian Barmore. Now, if Barmore didn't go down, yeah, I'd have Armon Watts cut. But at least until Barmore can come back, I think they're going to need depth there. And Armon Watts, I think, out of all of the veterans and all of the guys that I have being cut, definitely has the most potential. That means getting cut, I have Tristan Hill, Sam Roberts, William Bradley King, Jonathan Russell, and Josiah Brunson. Again, I feel like all those are pretty self-explanatory. Moving on to the edge position, though, I have them keeping a total of 4 guys: Keon White, Joshua Uche, Anthony Jennings, and O'Shane Zimenez. With the absence of Matthew Judon, the Patriots are going to need some extra depth there at edge. They're going to have to find alternative ways to get some pressure, and I think keeping an extra edge rusher or two would not hurt this team. Getting cut, Kobe Jones, Christian McCarroll. I feel like edge rusher, very self-explanatory. It also wouldn't surprise me if maybe an edge rusher or a defensive lineman is going to be on the 53-man roster that isn't currently here in New England. Moving on to the linebacker position, though, I have them keeping a total of 4 guys: Juwan Bentley, Jelani Tavai, Raekwon McMillan, and the final guy that I have making, Joe Giles Harris. Now, the reason that I have him making the roster is because I have Sione Takitaki starting the season on the PUP list. It would shock me if he is starting week 1 for this team. I think they're going to want an extra body there. Who knows how much Joe Giles will play, but he has special teams experience. He's also been one hell of a ball hawk for the Patriots defensively throughout training camp, throughout the preseason, having an interception last night against the Commanders. And I think that this was a battle up until the end between Joe Giles Harris and Christian Ellis. Both have special teams experience, although I think Christian Ellis a bit of a better special teamer, also a really good coverage linebacker. He goes down with an injury. Sounds like it's a head injury. So I just think that that injury, as unfortunate as it was, kind of took him out of the battle, and Joe Giles Harris starts to rise a little bit. He also plays that style of linebacker the Patriots like, that big body thumping linebacker who's just around the ball at all times. It'll be really interesting to see what they do when Sione Takitaki does come back. Do they just decide to keep 5 total linebackers, or is Raekwon McMillan or Joe Giles Harris off the active roster? But like I said, starting the season on PUP, it's going to be Sione Takitaki and then Christian Ellis and Steel Chambers being cut. Moving on to the cornerback position, I feel like this one for me was also pretty easy, as shocking as that is. 7 total cornerbacks: Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones, Alex Austin, Isaiah Bolden, Sean Wade, and Marco Wilson being cut. I have Marcellus Dial, Azizi Hearn, and Mikey Victor. At the end of the day, the Patriots had a lot of injuries at the cornerback position last year, and that plagued them. They also have a lot of guys coming back from injuries. Christian Gonzalez, season-ending injury. Marcus Jones, season-ending injury. Jonathan Jones banged up last year and really over the last couple years has dealt with a lot of injuries. You need insurance policies behind those guys. Right now, the biggest battle has been between Alex Austin and Marco Wilson for that second perimeter cornerback outside of Christian Gonzalez. I really wouldn't say that one guy has won over the other. I would say that they've really gone stride for stride, and they've just consistently been repping outside of each other, swapping in for each other. And I think that's what we'll see this upcoming season. I don't know if we're going to see Alex Austin or Marco Wilson be that full-time starting second cornerback, or if the Patriots are just going to switch those guys on a drive-to-drive basis. Isaiah Bolden, a guy that showed a lot of potential last year, I think showed some potential this offseason too, just was a little bit quieter, but he's going to give them some depth there at outside corner. And then Sean Wade having a pretty good offseason too, just dealing with some injuries, but gives them depth at slot cornerback and obviously gives them depth at outside perimeter cornerback too. For the guys being cut between Marcellus Dial, Azizi Hearn, and Mikey Victor, none are really a surprise. It thinks that, Marcellus Dial has to be cut, but he was a rookie 6th-round pick. At the end of the day, I promise you, nobody's going to claim him. He's looked absolutely terrible. He allowed over 100 yards in week 2 of the preseason against the Philadelphia Eagles. Looked a little bit better against the Commanders in week 3, but still nothing to warrant an actual 53-man roster spot. As long as he clears waivers, which he should, he'll be back on the Patriots practice squad, and they'll try to develop him and give him a shot next year. But right now, just a rough offseason for Marcellus Dial. Now, as for the safety position, I have them keeping a total of 5 guys: Kyle Duggar, Jabril Pepper, Jalen Hawkins, Brendan Schooler. And the reason I have Brendan Schooler with the safeties and not with the specialist is because Gerard Mayo said they're not doing that anymore, where they keep, guys specifically for special teams ability. They're also going to have to be able to take some reps on offense or defense. So I have Brendan Schooler making the team with the safeties. And then I also have UDFA Del Pettis also making the team. I think that Gerard Mayo, Elliot Wolf, they want to get back to the days where the Patriots consistently year in and year out had a UDFA making this team, because I think that's so valuable. A lot of times after the draft, guys of high caliber don't end up getting drafted. And so teams kind of have to compete with how they're going to sign those guys or who's going to ultimately sign those guys. And a lot of times it comes down to money. The Patriots are going to be a more intriguing place for UDFAs to actually want to go if the Patriots are known for having at least one UDFA making the roster every single year. I also just think that Del Pettis has looked really, really good for the Patriots secondary all offseason long. That means being cut, I have AJ Thomas and Joshua Bledsoe, both of which have had really, really good moments. I thought Joshua Bledsoe looked great for the Patriots during the preseason. As long as both of those guys clear waivers, I think they'll easily be top candidates to return to the Patriots practice squad. And then as for Marte Mapu, he's kind of been dealing with some injuries. They haven't used him much. I think he's someone that they're going to place on the injured reserve. His season's going to be done. He's not going to come back. And hopefully a year from now, he can come back and kind of fight to be in the Patriots linebacker core or their safety core. And then for the obvious special teamers, I have Joey Sly being your starting kicker, Bryce Behringer as your punter, and Joe Cardona as your lawn snapper. I have Chad Ryland and Tucker Addington being cut. Pretty self-explanatory. I think there could be a team that takes a chance on Chad Ryland, but if not, he again will be a top candidate to return to the Patriots practice squad. Guys, that is going to be my final prediction for the New England Patriots 53-man roster for this upcoming 2024 season. Who did I have making the roster that you didn't? And who did I have not making the roster that you had making the Patriots roster? Make sure you guys let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe for all of your New England Patriots news, thoughts, and breakdowns. And of course, make sure you guys check out BetUS limited time offer of a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Appreciate you guys watching, but of course, as always, go Pats.